There are only 5 bolts this size on the entire machine. Look at that. Look there.
This is a rod that I pulled out in the very beginning where the mysterious gear fell out. In a minute you'll see where it's actually got a little oil hole in it. That rod is actually used to kick the drive system out automatically so you don't slam into the chuck. These set screws are so that you can, the ones I'm putting in now actually lock down the flat screws that are on top. But what you can do is raise those flat screws up some and they'll push up against the handle so that the door pushes down tighter against the gear cluster there. I don't think any of mine have anywhere. I think they all stay almost completely flat. I wish they'd gone in that fast in reality. And here I'm just rocking that cluster back and forth for the first time with it assembled to see what is going on there. I'm trying to learn as I build here. And this is the cluster for setting thread cutting. Oh, there's that little hole in there, and see the little oil, little bitty thing that says oil on it, which I wouldn't have seen in a million years if I hadn't taken the machine apart. You know, I mentioned in the last video that I replaced all of the bearings, which happen to be roller bearings, except for these two right here. These are a conical shaped bearing that expand and contract based on how tight you put that screw in that holds them in on the bottom. I guess it's for preloading the shaft to take out any slack. There were 0 gouges on the shaft, but this was the last model that Hardinge used this on. Yeah, I love it when I make those noises. When you're in a wheelchair and you're having to reach out with 80 pounds in front of you with no front muscle support, things get real heavy real fast. Fortunately, this isn't a giant lathe. I'll have to use an overhead hoist when I restore one of those. Anyway, I thought this came out really nice.
I may actually take this and get it sandblasted. You'll see. It's really the last thing to go on once it's assembled. This is the cage that holds the pulleys and electric motor and all that. It's definitely what I would call overkill, considering now they just have a motor and a belt.
So I actually ended up sandblasting it myself after all. Wasn't fun. As you can see here, the drive carriage looks just like ET. And if you didn't see the last video, this is actually the clutch assembly for shifting it from high to low. You can see the chains inside it and drive it, and that's the big chain drive gear that goes on it, which is obviously very of its day in the early part of the 20th century. And this hinge is for the door that covers the gears on the end when it's in to keep your little fingers out of them. This thing is massive. I mean, it's just massive. It's insane how large this particular piece of iron is to hold this door on. This, from what I've seen in videos, is referred to as the back gear. Essentially what it does when you engage it is it cuts the rotation of the spindle by half, and it will actually cut this one down to about 60 revolutions per minute. You know, these belts are a lot more impressive than they appear in other YouTube videos, so I guess I'll have to call in. And with a speed 7 times faster than any normal man with video editing.
Did you pick a hard enough metal to go in there?
Well, that's what it is. You're on the other side of the drill.
Yeah. They were spring loaded or something.
I showed this to several people trying to figure out how to get this bearing out so I could clean everything up. This was the only bearing I couldn't order, or say I gave up after a while. One company had it but said it would be months before they would actually put it in production. Anyway, on a lot of lathes, when this is pieced together and it's been in there a long time, it looks like one piece. I sent this to a few people, they couldn't figure out how to get it out. But what you do is you put a deep well socket down in there just big enough to catch the edge of that bearing, and it will knock that out.